Fellas, how are we doing? Happy Sunday. It's October 5th. Chuck Silver, I'm here with Occupy Fantasy. We're going to be breaking down the Buffalo Bills New England Patriots showdown here. We'll be going through some DFS lineup building advice, and even if you're not playing DFS, a lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about should still help you out with maybe your bets, or if you have a decision in your home league, we can get to that. So, guys, throw your questions in the chat. If you have any ideas, please throw them in the chat. Let's talk about it. We have kind of a weird one tonight due to the touchdown variance on both teams. It's going to be really hard to, you know, come up with just constructing a single entry tonight. I think this is a better slate if you're building a set of lineups, maybe in the 20 max or in the 150 max. The problem is so much of the captain ownership is going to James Cook and Josh Allen, as it should. They're 8 point favorites in a, what is it? We're at 48.5 point total. Like, that's pretty great for a Sunday night game. And we've seen like the Bills might not be great on defense, but they are good on offense. And James Cook has scored 5 touchdowns in 4 games. Josh Allen isn't getting as many of the rushing touchdowns as we would like, but he's still crushing, right? I mean, I say that he had 2 in week 1. He's had 1 since. So hopefully, if we're going with Josh Allen captain, we get that rushing touchdown tonight. I want to mention Josh Allen is 50%. He's projected for 50% ownership at the MVP spot on FanDuel, 36% at captain on DraftKings. And so on FanDuel, this came up with Patrick Mahomes a few weeks ago. I think you can consider locking Josh Allen at MVP or consider fading him completely at MVP and just pretty much playing him a ton in the flex. I mean, over on FanDuel, let me make sure I got this set up right. All right, you guys have been asking for FanDuel. I figured it out. So we're here. But yeah, I think it's better to just lock Josh Allen or fade him. I mean, you can go halfway if you'd like, but if you want to really get that leverage, I think that's one of the ways to go. Like James Cook is projected for 19% FanDuel MVP. Does that show up on the screen? All right, sorry the name's blocked out, but you guys know who I'm talking about here, so I'll try to get it better for next week. And Drake May is projected for 16% MVP ownership on FanDuel. No one else is projected for more than 3% ownership, and that's going to be players like Stephon Diggs. We have Khalil Shakir at 2%, Hunter Henry at 2%, Bills defense at 2%, and then we got 1% FanDuel MVP on guys like Ramondre Stevenson, Keon Coleman, Matt Prater, Trevion Henderson, Joshua Palmer, and Kayshon Boutte. So I really think tonight we want to spread out our ownership in both the captain and MVP and in the flex, unless you're just playing 100% Josh Allen MVP, or maybe, I don't know, you mix in a little bit James Cook MVP too and just try to get different in the flex. But that's like a huge thing on tonight's slate, because even over on DraftKings, Josh Allen 36% captain ownership and James Cook 24%. No one else is over 10. So I just think that we're getting such leverage if we play anyone else. Like if we play Keon Coleman, for example, he's projected for low ownership, even in the flex, and his price is a little bit annoying. I think the price is actually better on FanDuel. Most of the pricing is higher on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings. Keon Coleman's one of the few players who's cheaper, and so I think he's a pretty awesome high risk. Like we can take shots on him. I don't care about the games he gives me 6, 3.5, 4.1. If he gives me this 24.2 at that ownership, then I'm going to feel pretty great about it, especially if it helps us get away from the more popular MVPs. So let's talk about some injury news before I go any further. For the Patriots, I think we only got confirmation that, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, K'Lavon Chaisson. I don't think I've heard it before. He's out tonight, but the defensive end, Milton Williams, the linebacker, Jelani Tavai, and the cornerback Carlton Davis are all questionable. They're all starters. And so those 3 questionable guys are all expected to play. And for the linebacker Jelani Tavai, this would be his season debut if he is available. So look out for that news in about an hour. For the Buffalo Bills, and if any other news came out that disagrees with what I'm saying, please throw that in the chat. But linebacker Dorian Williams is out. He's been starting in place of Matt Milano, who is also questionable tonight. He's missed the last 2.5 games. If he ends up being out, they could start the veteran Shaq Thompson. They did elevate a defensive tackle and a linebacker. It doesn't necessarily mean that Matt Milano won't play, but they have him on the roster just in case. They might have just needed to fill that roster space. Cornerback Dorian Strong is out, and defensive tackle Ed Oliver is questionable. And defensive tackle TJ Sanders is questionable. So those last two guys, Ed Oliver and TJ Sanders, if they're both out, it's such a hit to Buffalo's defense. And I'm already kind of leaning into playing a little bit more New England than the field is today. So I kind of like that. And we're going to like it a little bit more if they end up out. On the offensive end, Buffalo's tackle Spencer Brown is questionable. And so there's no one on like fantasy relevant that's questionable. Everyone's expected to play tonight. That's good. Let's see what we got in the chat. Heath, how's it going, man? Happy to see you here. Eli, hey, man. Hope you help drive the show with some great questions again. John Paul, let's get into it. Drake May captain in single entry. I'm a pretty big fan of Drake May captain in single entry tonight. Remember, I'm a small field bro now, so we'll go over a couple of those. Yeah, Sean likes it too. Thoughts is Matt Prater on DraftKings. So after the Brandon Aubrey disaster last week, like I would do the same thing. I would recommend it's okay to play Brandon Aubrey at captain with Matt Prater tonight. He is projected for a few percent ownership. And what we're hoping if we play Matt Prater at captain and MVP is that, let's plug this in, play on a FanDuel a little bit here today. So if we're plugging in Matt Prater at MVP, it gives us a little bit more freedom. Like let's put Josh Allen and James Cook in here. Can we fit Drake May? It still leaves us with 5K per player. FanDuel's tough. We have to scroll down a bit. I'm a big fan of Kayshon Boutte in the flex as a GPP play. Joshua Palmer, I think, looks great, like much better than Elijah Moore. And Demario Douglas actually looks okay on the model, but he's much cheaper on DraftKings, so I think we're going to lean into playing him there a little bit more. Ray Davis is $3,400 over here. Ty Johnson's $2,600. Ray Davis is $400 over on DraftKings, and we got a coach's comment from the offensive coordinator that James Cook's volume is really high. Like we need him to be good and healthy in December, and so he mentioned that their running back room is too good to not get touches to other guys, and I believe he specifically mentioned Ray Davis as a guy that they're going to try to get more involved tonight. So we don't mind Ray Davis even at this 3,400 on FanDuel. Leaves us 6,600. Bills defense is fine, especially with Matt Prater at MVP. Andy Borregales, this is another guy. So Tyler Bass is, I'm sorry. Yeah, Andy Borregales, slightly lesser known kicker. Hasn't put up a good score this year. His ownership is under 20% on both sides, so I think we can consider him as well. We can just put that in there. It's not a bad one. But I think that in small fields, maybe the kicker captain is okay. But if we're playing anything larger, I feel like we could just take shots on guys like if we put Stephon Diggs at captain, leaves us 3K. Yeah, we're gonna have to punt to second position. So it's gonna be really hard to fit in these three guys if we don't go with one of these cheap MVPs. But it can work if the fantasy scoring is really concentrated on those three, and you just really need to get all three of them in the same lineup with whoever else scores a touchdown in the game. My favorite DraftKings captain tonight. Let's take a look. So tonight's weird. I can't say with any confidence like I have on the other slates. There was a clear favorite captain that maybe the model was giving us, or that I look at the slate and the guy seems underowned, right? For tonight, I think my favorite DraftKings captain is just anyone but Cook or Allen. So maybe it's Drake May at the quarterback. His price is decent. I mean, 10K allows us a little bit to do. I like these three guys as tournament plays. So let's take a look at Drake May captain, Kayshon Boutte, Ray Davis. Just throw in Joshua Palmer. The model really likes Joshua Palmer at this 3K price. I think he's one of the stronger flex plays over on DraftKings. I want to get Hunter Henry in here. And that leaves us with 18,000. Oh, that's way too much. Yeah, so we don't even have to do this with Boutte. We can put in Josh Allen. We can still fit in James Cook. Like, Ray Davis really opens up a lot over on DraftKings. And if you get one other value guy, yeah, we can fit in the three studs that we like. Prater and flex, captain is scary. Yeah, he's definitely a better play in the flex than captain. Cook is a fade tonight. So here's the thing. Looking at the model, Khalil Shakir is like in another tier of his own today on DraftKings. And I talked to Brian about this, and it just Khalil Shakir catches every single football that comes his way, has a 100% catch rate. That's the only elite thing about him. His snaps fell last week, but the Bills have been in weird game scripts, so I don't want to read too much into that this early in the season. He's put up solid scores. The 8,200 price really helps given the ceiling, I guess, that we think Shakir has. The 10-2 on FanDuel is much different than this 8,200. But the model loves Khalil Shakir. I think we can get over the field on him. James Cook is second and Josh Allen is third. And so in the plug, what I wrote about James Cook, he's RB1 overall through 4 weeks. The model loves him. His touchdown equity is insane. Volume and opportunity has been great. So that's the big difference. Last year, he did not get the volume. They gave more work to Ray Davis and Ty Johnson. And this year, Ray Davis is just like not touching the football, right? Even if we're looking at Ty Johnson, he's not really touching the football either. And so I was already kind of leaning into just, maybe playing a little bit less James Cook, at least in captain, and hoping he doesn't score 2 touchdowns tonight. But now with that comment from the offensive coordinator, if Ray Davis and Ty Johnson might be more involved, that gives us more options. But I don't think it should scare us off James Cook, that comment. His volume is just among the highest in the NFL, right? I mean, 22, 19, 21. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think James Cook had a single game in his whole life over 20 carries until he got to the NFL. So that was like my hesitation with him last year. It's like he can't score a touchdown every game. Well, he has. So it's a tough fade. I'm okay getting away at captain and MVP, but he's going to be a staple in my flex spot tonight. Who's a RB1? Is it Stevenson or Henderson? So given what we've seen so far through 4 weeks, it's Ramondre Stevenson. I think that we're all kind of waiting for Trevion to take over, but he hasn't shown enough like to earn it, right? I mean, these are okay fantasy scores. The price is fine on DraftKings. It just he's broken 10 carries once. He does get targeted a little bit. He had 6 targets in week 1, so there's some potential there. I don't mind playing him because he's so low owned. I'll mention the model hates him. He's the lowest ranked New England running back, even lower than Antonio Gibson. 6,800 for Trevion Henderson. We're looking at 4,800 for Ramondre. He's going to be slightly more popular. Trevion is going to be popular as well, but Ramondre, we have projected for 39% ownership in the flex on DraftKings, 37% on FanDuel. Ramondre is only projected for 1% MVP on FanDuel, though. His price is much different. He's 7,200 there. But Ramondre had 6% captain on DraftKings versus Trevion Henderson, 30% in the flex on DraftKings, 15% in the flex on FanDuel, and 2 and 1% captain and MVP ownership. Trevion's price on FanDuel is much different too, though. 10K. It's really hard to work with. And so, given how low he is on the model and what we've seen from him so far, I'm not making any adjustments for it, but I feel like we would only want to get over the field on Trevion Henderson if we had some reason to believe that he takes over more of the work this week. And looking into this game, I didn't see that. And so I still view Ramondre as the RB1, and he's much cheaper on both sites. So I don't think the ownership gap is wide enough between them. I think Ramondre should be pulling more ownership, but this came up before, that the wider that ownership gap becomes, the better play Trevion Henderson becomes too. So does a build matter more than ownerships? Well, the build, like they go hand in hand. Like let's say you're fading Josh Allen MVP on FanDuel, like that's a ton of ownership. That like it's not a. Let me think about how to word this. Like you're getting rid of half the field if Josh Allen is not the optimal MVP tonight, and so I don't know exactly how I'd calculate that in ownership, but I do consider it. If I'm playing Josh Allen at MVP, yeah, I probably want less ownership in the flex. But if I'm playing anyone else at MVP, especially one of like the 2 or 3% owned guys like Keon Coleman, I don't even care about what else I'm doing in the flex because the model is going to be different from the industry anyway. I don't think anyone else in the industry is giving Khalil Shakir the ceiling that we're giving him today. And so if you just follow the advice that we have here and the advice that the model's giving us, I think that's enough. I don't think we have to try too hard to get different. Like I'm just going to mention last week real quick, we talked about playing for the under with these 5-1 stacks, and that's okay to mix into your sets, but if you're only building one lineup, it's just a lot of things have to go right, and you might only have to do one of those things. Like tonight, New England 5-1 is going to be pretty low owned. We could just do that. Don't have to play for the under. You can. It's an option. Same with Buffalo. I mean, we can even go Buffalo 5-1 with anyone but Josh Allen or James Cook at captain, and that's going to look pretty good. We have to hit like the perfect run out for that to be optimal. But just a couple ideas. Really like Shakir, Hunter, and Kincaid. Yeah, I'm a big fan of all three of those guys. I think so. The model's giving us Shakir. The model loves Hunter Henry, and then Dalton Kincaid is a little bit lower on the model, but he's also projected for crazy low ownership. Let me pull this up. Actually, I take that back. I must maybe there was an update or something. We have Dalton Kincaid ranked 5th overall on DraftKings. He's a little bit lower on FanDuel, but he still looks pretty good. And Dalton Kincaid, we have projected for 1% DK captain ownership, 0% FanDuel ownership, and he's sub 10% in the flex on both sites. I think he's a fantastic play, even at that slightly higher price over on FanDuel, 8,600. Yeah. Because I mean, other than Shakir, like this is the guy we have the most confidence in. He's going to pull targets, and like he still doesn't really pull that many targets. He's only on the field half of the time. Dawson Knox plays more snaps than Dalton Kincaid. He doesn't run as many routes, but I think Dawson Knox is going to be kind of a popular value play today, and I just don't. I disagree. I don't think he's a great value play. The model has him ranked about in the middle, which I understand because of his low salary, and it looks like the ownership on him did drop from when I was looking earlier. Earlier he was over 20%. Now he's down to about 12, 13% in the flex on both sites. At that ownership, that's a little more okay. If he was any higher owned though, I just think we can play anyone else. As I say that, and he gets one red zone target and catches a touchdown. Mac Hollins. Yeah, Mac Hollins, like this whole group of receivers on both teams, it's just the touchdown variance. Who's going to score the touchdown? Because that's probably going to be the guy that you need. So let's plug these guys in. Mac Hollins, even Demario Douglas is still here. Kayshon Boutte, Stephon Diggs, and Hunter Henry. Like these are the 5 main New England guys I think that we want to consider as pass catchers. Kyle Williams is in there too. He's kind of on the lower end. Austin Hooper. I gotta think Austin Hooper has some touchdown equity. Did I have him with a red zone target this year? So he's been running between 11 and 20 routes each game over the last 3 weeks. I think that's pretty good. He's drawn one red zone target in week 1, so we are kind of punting off if we're playing him. But if he catches that touchdown, remember, like in a game where the fantasy scoring could be pretty condensed to the top guys, we're interested in getting whoever scores the touchdown. So Austin Hooper's in play too. Can we do a 5-1 stack with Drake May to be different? Would this be advised? It's an option. It's high risk. Let's take a look how that looks on DraftKings. We'll start with Drake May captain. I definitely want to get Hunter Henry in there, and I'm okay. Let's see how it looks with Stephon Diggs. With Stephon Diggs, his snap count's gone up every week. Remember, he's coming off that major injury. He played 63% of snaps last week, and he leads this wide receiving room in targets. Hunter Henry has more targets overall. But Stephon Diggs is the clear wide receiver 1. Kayshon Boutte actually leads the wide receiver room in snaps, and he's top 10 in the NFL in ADOT. And Stephon Diggs has still drawn more targets. But with Kayshon Boutte, let's see how that looks with him in here too. This is kind of similar to what I was saying about Keon Coleman. I do not care about the games he gives us 5-3. Like, I care about the games he gives us 19. Kayshon Boutte is projected for 10% flex ownership on DraftKings, 18% on FanDuel. I do agree the price is a little bit higher than I would like, but I'm still probably going to be slightly over that today. So is 3 pass catchers too much? Let's just see how this looks. I want to get one of Josh Allen or James Cook, so we'll do Josh Allen. And then, yeah, I mean, we can take a punt on one of these Buffalo guys, Curtis Samuel, Ty Johnson, Dawson Knox. Elijah Moore is kind of more of a trash play tonight given the usage after Curtis Samuel came back last week, but we can still consider him. I mean, I think Ray Davis is probably going to be the default punt if we really need that cheap salary. Jackson Haas, he caught a touchdown, right? Yeah, he caught a touchdown. He's seen one target in each week, so he's like a high-risk punt too. I think Ray Davis is going to be preferred. Now, if you're looking at the model, Ray Davis has the minimum model ranking, but I'm kind of taking into account what the offensive coordinator said a little bit, and so I'm going to get to him a little bit more than the field. But I mean, even this build leaves 1,800. Let's take out Booty. Yeah, we can get in Trevion Henderson. We can get in Ramondre, one of the kickers. Let's see if I take out Stephon Diggs, so we can get James Cook and Josh Allen in the flex. If we have Ray Davis in there, Josh Palmer seems pretty good. Mac Hollins, Austin Hooper, punt off on one of these guys. Drake May. Let's take a look on FanDuel real quick. I think it's because I think this is a solid build, especially if we're fading that Josh Allen MVP. Let's put Allen and let's put James Cook in the flex too. So we're only left with 4,600. It's a little bit harder on FanDuel if you want to fit in all three of these guys. We don't have that $200 punt and Ray Davis anymore, but let's see if we can make it work still. So I still think Joshua Palmer is fine for the price here. And we have to punt off on one of these guys. It's not great. Maybe Dawson Knox, 2,000, leaves us 6,800 to get to Matt Prater or Andy Borregales. So that's an option. And honestly, like you might look at this lineup and say it's not different enough. I think this is already fine. Like this is enough. You don't have to try any harder than this. Like swap out whoever you want for Dawson Knox. But the point is, with Josh Allen being 50% owned at MVP, everyone else is just going to be so much lower owned. Fading Cook and Allen and playing Shakir. Yeah, I was thinking about this too. What do we think about fading both of the Bills studs? And it just leaves us too much salary. So let's say we're going with Drake May, a captain, Shakir and flex. Hunter Henry, Ramondre Stevenson. I think we're getting Ray Davis or Ty Johnson in there for fading James Cook. It seems pretty good. And yeah, I mean, we're left with 14,000 if we play Ray Davis. If we put in a player like, okay, so here's an idea. If we're fading Josh Allen and fading James Cook, Patriots defense looks a little bit better, even with Drake May a captain. Leaves us 11,000. It's still kind of awkward. And so if like people using an optimizer, I can't imagine they're going to get many lineups that don't have at least one of these guys. And so fading both of them would give you crazy leverage. But I think you just have to consider how often that's actually going to work out where neither Josh Allen or James Cook gets there. Like I was thinking about this. Like let's say Buffalo gets shut out tonight, right? Like Josh Allen or James Cook is probably still going to be the highest scorer there. Or like if Buffalo scores one touchdown and it's Keon Coleman catching a long one, yeah, that'll be the guy that gets there. But like in almost any game script, it's hard for me to see how one of these guys isn't in the winning lineup. Do I think Ray Johnson? So we have Ray Davis and Ty Johnson. The model is giving us Ray Davis as a poor play, even at that 400 price tag, and it's giving us Ty Johnson as an okay punt. And so I'm adjusting Ray Davis based on the coach's comment, and I'm going to get a little bit more exposure to him. And we actually saw something like this work out. I think it was 2 weeks ago with Emmanuel Wilson captain, and that's a little bit different than the Ray Davis situation. But like if we go with Ray Davis at captain, we can just play everyone. James Cook, Josh Allen, Drake May leaves us 7,800. Like this is a dumb lineup, right? Like dumb as in you can fit five studs, the five most expensive players with Ray Davis captain. The reason this works is if these are the five that put up, if no one else scores any fantasy points, then you might just need all five of these guys. We saw that in the Dallas Green Bay game. Was it Green Bay? Whoever Dallas played that night. And that's what ended up winning the big one over on DraftKings. So thoughts about running both quarterbacks and not having Cook? Yeah, that seems fine. Let's try it with Josh Allen captain on DraftKings. Put in Drake May, Khalil Shakir, top of the model. I've been putting in Hunter Henry over Stephon Diggs. Let's put in Stephon Diggs in this one. Leaves us 3K. I think that Joshua Palmer is a pretty easy option, especially if you're playing smaller fields. He's going to be my preferred, value guy in that range. And that leaves us 3K. We can get to Austin Hooper or one of these Buffalo guys. So this one's a little bit awkward with the salary. Let's see if we go a little bit cheaper than Josh Palmer. Maybe we'll take a shot on Let's try Curtis Samuel, just so we're not putting Ray Davis in every single lineup. Well, leaves us 4,800 to get to Ramondre. It's not bad. It's not a bad idea. Josh Allen at captain with 2 of his pass catchers. Is Ray Davis guaranteed to get more work? No, we know that coaches lie. And so I guess I didn't look up how reliable their offensive coordinator is, but like what he's saying makes sense, right? James Cook, I mentioned James Cook before he got to the NFL was not a workhorse at any level in his life. And so it's kind of surprising how much work he's gotten so far this year. That's why he's ranked so highly and he's the RB1 overall. But like it makes sense to give him less work, right? Especially in a game that's a pretty widespread. If they take a lead, just give Ray Davis a couple more carries, let Ty Johnson run a couple more routes, whatever it is. And so, yeah, we could play this $400 Ray Davis and he could give us this 1 fantasy point he's been averaging. But there are certain situations, again, if the fantasy scoring is very concentrated on 5 players and Ray Davis allows you to fit those 5 players in a lineup, even if Ray Davis is in the flex, then that's just what you might need. You love Hollins as MVP? Yeah, any of these like low-owned pass catching any of these low-owned pass catchers are going to look fine at MVP. For me, it's really hard to pick any one that stands out, right? Like the one that makes the most sense is probably Keon Coleman, but he's already priced like he's a stud, and he hasn't been, right? And so playing Keon Coleman, Stephon Diggs, Hunter Henry, Dalton Kincaid, Kayshon Boutte, Joshua Palmer, Mac Hollins. I probably would try to shy away from getting to these guys as captains, but yeah, and I probably would have shied away from Mac Hollins captain as well if you didn't say it. But he's in consideration. Seems like a better flex play. Like I feel much more comfortable with Palmer at captain than I would with Mac Hollins, even though the expectation might be kind of similar. Just looking at the model, yeah, Joshua Palmer is ranked quite a bit ahead of Mac Hollins, but Mac Hollins doesn't look bad. He's about in the middle. He's right next to Kayshon Boutte and the kickers. I don't know if I mentioned how much Curtis Samuel returning last week affected the snap count for these guys. So 6 receivers on Buffalo saw 23% plus of snaps. Keon Coleman is the only one whose snaps were not affected by Curtis Samuel's return. Khalil Shakir only played 53% of snaps. Joshua Palmer only played 25%. Elijah Moore actually went up to 31%. And then Terrell Shavers played 24%. Curtis Samuel played 34% of snaps in his first game of the season. So it's only a 1-week sample size. I don't want to read into this too much. Like we know Khalil Shakir is the best receiver here. We probably know that Keon Coleman is not going to lose snaps now. And so the rest of the snaps are kind of just up for grabs between. Let me put these guys in here. Joshua Palmer, Elijah Moore, Terrell Shavers, and Curtis Samuel. And so if you can, if we can hit on one of these guys scoring a touchdown tonight, it's going to be so good for our lineups because they're all fairly low owned. Let me double check Palmer. Yeah, Palmer is the highest owned, 22% in the flex, 17%, 22% on DraftKings. I'm sorry, 17% in the flex on FanDuel, and he's basically unowned at captain MVP. I had a note about Palmer. I think he still gets enough red zone targets, and his price is so favorable on DraftKings that I really like sliding him into lineups tonight. All right, where am I at here? Don't sleep on Drake May. Yeah, we love Drake May today. The model likes him a lot too, which is a good sign for us. Best value on DraftKings for New England. So best value, I don't want to say any one of these guys is the best value. I don't know. The guy that stands out, I guess, is Ramondre Stevenson. We're getting the starting running back much cheaper than the backup running back, but this leaves a little bit to be desired, especially against the Bills. Don't sleep on Drake May. He's like Mac Jones. I hope he's better than Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is good now. So it's just maybe that coach he had in New England wasn't that great. Would I fade Allen in the flex with Shakir at captain for a 5-1 Patriots build? No. Not for you, Courtney. It's just if you're making a single entry, if you're only entering one lineup tonight, like yeah, if it hits, you have a decent chance of taking down the tournament. But even if like this is the correct build, you still got to get the right players. And I just, I would have a tough time fading Josh Allen tonight. We have too much value. You know what I mean? Like it's not hard to fit him and James Cook into lineups. What about somewhere in the neighborhood of May Captain with Pats, DST, Diggs, Henry Kincaid, and Shakir? Yeah, I mean, if you're playing a small field contest, I think that's a beautiful lineup. Oh, you're fading Cook and Josh Allen, actually. It's tough. So I just said it's a beautiful lineup. I didn't realize it was fading James Cook and Josh Allen. It could work. You know, there are game scripts where that is the winner, but like I was talking about a few minutes ago, I just have a really hard time seeing how neither one of Josh Allen or James Cook is in the winning lineup tonight, unless they get hurt in the first quarter or something. Putting Henry captain, I think that's great. Yeah, Hunter Henry is Drake May's favorite target. We'll see if that changes a little bit as the season goes on, as Stephon Diggs gets more healthy. But as we know, as far as we know, Drake May is looking for Hunter Henry in the end zone. I mean, he only had 2 targets last week, but I don't even look at Henry as a guy like, yeah, we're going to get 29 or 2. I mean, if he puts up this 12 tonight, there's situations where this 12 is enough to be in the winning lineup at his price. And, you know, hopefully he just scores a little bit more, gets us that 2 touchdown game. He usually has a couple a season, maybe except for last year. Last week was pretty awful. Yeah, I think if you followed the advice here, just play a little bit more Dallas in general, then you were probably good. But if you went even further and, you know, we're getting into Dallas 5-1s and Dallas 4-2s, and that was tough. Especially the game almost doubled the total, which is kind of ridiculous. It's a fun game though. Fantastic game to watch. Terrible for fantasy if you're watching the show. Seems like so many slates so far this year have been mid-price captain instead of stud captain. Yeah, and that's how I kind of look at, like, I think that if we play more guys like just an example, Kayshawn Booty, like even Stephon Diggs and Hunter Henry are low owned, Dalton Kincaid, Joshua Palmer, like those type of guys a captain, especially like if it lets you fit in all the studs, like that's just going to be my preferred build almost every time. I don't know if you guys have realized it yet, but I really like to not play the highest owned captain on the night. It's a lot easier to win if you hit the right captain that's a wide receiver or a tight end or a running back and they get multiple touchdowns. You know, on DraftKings it's PPR, maybe they catch 6, 7 passes and they just their salary allows you to fit in whoever else you need in the flex. What do I think about I think you're talking about Spencer Hawes? Or that's not his name, Spencer Hawes. Shout out to 2008 NBA. Jackson Hawes. Yeah, so he's seen 1 target in every game and I think he actually does play a decent amount of snaps for this team. Yeah, so since week 2, he's played 47%, 43%, and 53% of snaps. Now, he's not running a route on all of those. And he's earned 1 target in each game, but the potential to have that red zone target, you know, I've been talking about Ray Davis as a pretty great value play at 200 or $400. Hawes is kind of in a similar Jackson Hayes. What a name, Jackson Hawes for a tight end. It's kind of similar. You know, if he gets that touchdown that we're hoping Ray Davis gets, then he's going to be a really good value play. I mean, if any of these sub 1,000 guys are like Terrell Shavers, Curtis Samuel, Kyle Williams, Ty Johnson, Dawson Knox, any of these guys catches a touchdown, you're probably going to want to have them to take down a tournament tonight. Samuel is the punt. Yeah, I just mentioned he played over 30% of snaps already in his first game back. How many targets did he pull? 2 targets. And so, very small sample. We're not going to read too much into it, but we know Curtis Samuel to be a player who breaks slates and catches long touchdowns, right? Like we love talking about that here at Occupy Fantasy. I think we even have like a Curtis Samuel rule. So Curtis Samuel rule in effect. Don't forget about Curtis Samuel. Maybe in the flex more so than the captain. Do we take any stock in Mac Hollins? Mac Hollins, nice dude. And a Diggs revenge game against old team. I don't think so. It's just most of the players there are different now, and the coaching staff is different, right? So, or maybe the coaching staff's not different for Diggs. I'm not sure. I was thinking about it the other way around, that Diggs was on Buffalo. Now he come from New England, but no, Diggs came from Buffalo. He's on New England now. I don't read too much into that. I don't make adjustments for it. Maybe if I was hand building a lineup and I had a true 50-50 between him and Hunter Henry, then I'm okay with that deciding who to play in the lineup? Yeah. Okay, so nice. You got Henry captain, Josh Allen, Borregales, James Cook, Hawes, and May. So I think this is a pretty like let's plug this in real quick because I think this is a good like overall, build template, I guess. Not necessarily these exact players, but getting to a pass catcher captain in the mid range, jamming Josh Allen, James Cook, and Drake May in the flex. Yeah, and then we're going to punt off on one of these two guys. Not just these two, but one of these guys down here gets us to Borregales, Bills DST. Antonio Gibson's a little expensive, but he's super low owned. If he ends up getting that carry on the 1 yard line, that's going to be pretty helpful. Patriots defense too. Don't forget about him. Josh Allen's still capable of making mistakes. Is leaving a decent amount of salary on this slate a must? No. So obviously we're still interested in leaving salary on most slates, but tonight I think the ownership is just so spread out that like you don't have to. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of other ways to get different lineups, and because there's so many viable receivers, or I should say pass catchers on both teams, like would anyone be surprised if Demario Douglas and Joshua Palmer were the two guys to catch touchdowns tonight? Maybe a little bit, but I just think that the touchdown variance on this slate is so high that if you have a lineup you like, even if it uses all the salary, I think it's fine. So I'm going a little longer than I wanted to, but you guys were asking great questions. Truly appreciate you guys helping drive the show today. Let me see. I had some overall lineup building ideas. So building for the under, it doesn't feel as good today as it has in other games, right? And so now that I said that out loud, we can still do it. It's still in play. We can play both running backs from the same team. I think we've shown that a lot with James Cook and Ray Davis or Ty Johnson in the same lineup. Play only one pass catcher with your quarterback captain. Since both of these guys have pretty good rushing upside and rushing touchdown upside, we could go naked if we wanted. I think it's a little bit more awkward if you go like naked with Drake May and just, I don't know, maybe the New England kicker and then 4 Buffalo guys. Like that's a little more awkward. But if you do play that Josh Allen captain, that's one way to get different. Just play 0 or one of his pass catchers. Like I'm just going to keep plugging in Joshua Palmer because his salary is so helpful. We'll put Hunter Henry in this one. Or let's do Shakir actually, his top pass catcher. See how this looks, 5,400. You can plug in Matt Prater, same team kicker as our captain. I want to find a New England guy. Let's put Ramondre, leaves us 6,400. It's kind of an awkward salary range, so maybe not Ramondre in this one. Andy Borregales, nope, doesn't let us get there. Because I mean, you're leaving salary. You would end up leaving salary for playing guys like Ray Davis, but then you're kind of giving up the advantage that playing guys like Davis and Hawes give you, and that's allowing you to play whoever you want in your lineups. Like if you're doing this, leaving 8K in this type of lineup, or 800, I'm sorry, like that's fine. Any groups in my settings? I don't have that open right now. Yeah, if you're using the builder, I don't know that I want to set that rule for Josh Allen captain. With Drake May captain, I would probably put must play one of these guys in the flex and then just put all of his pass catchers there. Ramondre and Trevion count as pass catchers. But that's like a tough rule. This seems like a tough slate to do that for because I'd want to go through the lineups and make sure that everything looks good, right? So yeah, I'm sorry I don't have anything more for you on that. Maybe with like any of these pass catchers a captain, put their quarterback in the flex. Just make sure I got to everything. Yeah, I think that'll do it, fellas. Appreciate you guys all being here today. Great, pretty good numbers. I hope we have a good slate. Remember, it's a really high variance slate, and so I did tone down my volume a little bit tonight. And if you're only playing 1 or 2 lineups, I think it's really difficult. So just play the best plays if you're making one lineup. The Occupy model is giving us different best plays than the rest of the industry. And, for me, if I'm, taking DFS advice and looking for DFS information, I'm looking for information that's different from the field that's also still good. And that's what our information is. So watch out in the Discord. Instructions to join that are in the description below. We have a pretty cool DFS community. It's my favorite one, obviously. So look out for that late news. And fellas, let's have a good night. Appreciate you all watching. Have a good one.